Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, wherever you are in the world. I'm in Brisbane in Australia, and we've got Loraine Vorster with us, who's in South Africa. I'll let Loraine introduce herself. I'll just give you a quick intro about what this session is about and who we are. My name is John O'Cox, and I'm head of global marketing here at Learning People. I've been at the company for over 9 years. We're 13 years old, and we have homes in the UK, in Ireland, in New Zealand, and also in Australia. We have over 40,000 students worldwide that we support into new careers in technology, and we specialize in providing careers in technology. So if you know nothing about us, the idea is that you might want a complete career change, or maybe you're looking to upskill, and you can come to us, and we have the biggest industry certifications in the world. So you can train up, and then we have a career services team to help you get enrolled and into a new job. Typically within 6 months, sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it takes up to 12 months, depending on your circumstances. So the session today is great, is a great way to end the year. Typically we have sessions each month where we'll talk to students who have done our training, and share their experience with us to hopefully inspire and discuss what their experience was like with Learning People and the career that they're moving into. And I'm over, as I say, I'm over in Brisbane. I was in New Zealand in our office last week, and Loraine was over there as well. And we went to an awards evening. And we thought it would be a great idea just to look ahead to 2023 and discuss some of the opportunities that we think there's going to be in technology. So that's why we're here. We've got lots of questions that everyone has sent in. So thanks for those of you who have. We've also got an option for chat. So if you've got any questions that you want to ask Loraine, please do so in the chat, and we'll try and get through those over the next half an hour or so. That would be fantastic. So it's an open forum. Loraine, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you with us. Do you want to just give us an overview of who you are and what your role is at CompTIA?
Sure. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me. This is a topic that's very close to my heart. My name is Loraine Vorster, and I look after business development for CompTIA in the Southern Africa region, as well as Australia and New Zealand. As Jono mentioned, I was in New Zealand just a week ago and visited some of our partners and customers there and attended an awards event. I think I have one of the most wonderful jobs in the world. I speak not only to young people like yourselves or career changers, I also speak to companies, and I work with our partners, and everything revolves around IT as a career, and getting people into careers and changing lives. I think that's one of the most fulfilling things for me in my job, is that I get to speak to the individuals like yourselves who decided to take some of our certifications at a partner like the Learning People, and then change their lives by going into a wonderful career that they love. So yes, that's me. I don't know how you want to handle the questions, Jono. There were quite a lot. How did you want to do this?
There are quite a lot of questions, so we'll work our way through them. There's a few other questions that I particularly wanted to talk about in terms of looking at opportunities for tech to begin with. But I think could you just give us an overview of who CompTIA are? Now, we at Learning People have a very special relationship with CompTIA, and we have for a number of years. We're a platinum partner, and in the Australia Pacific region, we've just won the Outstanding Leader Award for the second year running, which I'll come on to. But if you could summarize who CompTIA are and what you provide to begin with.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with what an industry association is, but that is how CompTIA started over 30 years ago in the US. An association really provides a platform for organizations that have similar business, and they get together in a room where there's no competitors, and they talk about the betterment of the industry. What are the issues that they face? So that's how CompTIA started, and it's still the core of our business today. In the mid-90s, in one of those member forums, we had some of our members talk to us about creating vendor-neutral certifications that would show the skills that people have. At that time, the only certifications that you got were ones that were vendor-specific. So we still have quite a few of that today, where the certification is based on a product and how to support that product. whereas the CompTIA certifications are all about the jobs, the actual job, as well as the skills that you need to perform that job. It's very hands-on and much more job-driven, which makes a big difference. It's a skill that you can use on any product.
And I think for just so people can understand in terms of with learning people, so we provide these career pathways for you. So if you are looking for a career change, maybe you wanted to be a cybersecurity analyst, for example, or you just wanted an entry-level role in IT, then we would use CompTIA's certifications along with other certification bodies, and which are all aligned, as Loraine said, to what employers are looking. And all of the training is done online and in a pace that suits you, whether you've got family, whether you've got work, whatever it might be. So that's how it works. So in terms of technology itself, tech is spoken about all the time. It's in the news. Everyone talks about the demand in tech. There's a huge skills shortage. Do you think that that's the key reason why people should be looking to move into tech and why it's such an appealing industry potentially?
I think for most people, tech is very exciting and interesting. You see those success stories of people that become millionaires overnight or billionaires overnight. And I think that's quite an attraction to young people or anyone who wants to go into a career. I'm going to earn a good salary. The one thing I have to say, in this industry, you never stop learning. And that's the one thing I always say to young people when they get into it. It doesn't stop with today. You start and you will continuously learn as new technologies come out. You have to keep your skills up to date. But I think it's a very exciting place to be. It evolves the whole time. There are so many options. And it's in every segment. It's in mining, it's in banking. It doesn't matter where you go. IT is there, so you don't have to work per se for an IT company. There's just so many options, and I think that's the future.
And as we look ahead to 2023, I'm not sure how South Africa, where you're based, has felt it, but particularly within the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, the cost of living is increasing because of a number of reasons. Petrol prices going up, and it's just things just seem to be harder. And tech seems to be an industry where we've mentioned it pays very well, and there is a ladder. So if you're starting at an entry-level role, within a few years, you can climb your way up that ladder fairly quickly. Do you think that this is going to slow down in the near future, or do you think looking ahead to 2023, tech will continue to grow in demand?
Certainly, let me start with South Africa. It certainly was the only sector in the country that grew during the last 2 years, and the growth was quite substantial. I've just seen research that CompTIA is about to release, and I would encourage anybody that's interested to go and look at CompTIA's website and see some of the research that we bring out. And that actually shows economies right across the world. And the interesting thing is that tech is growing. The IT industry has grown in every single country across the world. One of the interesting things is there's certain countries where tech is not exciting. The US is one of them, where we do a lot of work as CompTIA to promote tech as a career. I often get into an Uber or taxi, and the young person driving will tell me that they've studied tech or they did some tech degree, but they're not even working in that industry because they think, oh, it's not that great. It's not the most exciting. So we do a lot of work there, but I think everywhere else, it's definitely a growing industry. There's definitely opportunities. And with the changes that are happening so fast in the tech industry, there's many, many more career options for people.
I think, as you say, from my perspective as well, that's one of the exciting things about tech, because there is this around the globe, a digital transformation where, you know, every business needs to have a digital presence. And also we see every day in the news, there's cybersecurity threats and hacks all around the world, isn't there? And a huge demand and skill shortage for cybersecurity professionals, which is just one area of technology which is booming. Cloud is another one. infosec coding. There's lots of areas which are exciting. And you just mentioned Uber there. For me, the Uber app is the best app that's ever been made. I think it's absolutely groundbreaking. And you think the developers needed to build that app. It's a wonderful service. But anyway, I digress. So do you think there's any barriers for people looking to enter tech? Do you think age comes into it?
Not at all. We have a lot of people that contact us. I've had lawyers that are in their mid-30s that decided they want to, they were spending some time with someone and they were interested in tech, or they read something or they saw something. There's a lot of workforce development projects happening in the US, in the UK, all over the world. I even heard of some in Australia where people that have been displaced during the pandemic are now looking to get back into the workforce in a different career maybe, or people like women who decide to, go off and build a family and they want to get back into a career. So there's a lot of workforce projects that are happening across the world to bring people into IT, and they're all ages. So I don't believe there's a barrier. Interesting fact, the youngest person we've ever had at CompTIA that passed an A+ exam was 8 years old, and he was from Japan. So he actually beat our South African record. I think we had an 11 or 12-year-old. So certainly no barriers. And I just want to mention, I saw in the questions, somebody asked about mathematics. And I don't know about you at the Learning People, Jono, but certainly I don't believe that mathematics is a requirement today to go into IT at all. Maybe if you're looking at coding or programming, I can believe that it might be some factor. But the majority of the IT field, it is definitely not a requirement today.
And that's the same for the Learning People, for the careers, in tech that we offer. You don't need a tech background. Maybe if you're moving into data science or something like that, which you need several years of experience, but absolutely not. But you mentioned there the A+. Should we talk about some of the certifications that are popular with CompTIA for those looking to gain an entry-level role in technology? Well, firstly, what is the CompTIA A+, and what would you recommend?
So A+ has been seen for many years as the entry point into a career in IT. I think the main, it's evolved obviously a lot as well. When I started with CompTIA, it was your hardware and software. I think there was even Apple in it, and there was a little bit of Linux in it, which is back today. But today our A+ gives you quite a bit of extra exposure. So it's not only your hardware and software, but it's also a little bit of networking, a little bit of security. It gives you an exposure to a bunch of things within IT. I think it's a good starting point. I go a lot to companies and I do assessments against our certifications of their tech teams. And I can see when there's a gap, when somebody didn't do A+, or people in the team did not do A+. There's definitely a gap in their education. You might not use it again because the idea is not that you do an A+ and you stay, on a help desk, or that you stay a PC support technician. The idea is that you progress in your career. But the foundation that you receive with the A+, learning all those acronyms, oh my. But those are the things you need to know in this industry. So it gives you that very strong foundation to go and build on top of it on your career in the IT industry.
So as you said, that will give you the foundations. And for those of you who are unsure about what pathway is right for you, you have absolutely no idea. Or maybe you have done some research. What we offer at Learning People is a free career consultation, which can take 30-45 minutes to really understand where you are in your career, what you want to do, what career change it might want to be. And then from that, we can discuss some of the best kind of career pathways for you. And then the A+ would be usually at the start of that journey if you're looking to get into IT. But the career consultation is something that I would recommend if you haven't had one yet. So we spoke about age limit, and then 8 years old was the youngest person, which is quite incredible. I can imagine that they complete a Rubik's Cube in about 3 seconds. Was it that kind of person?
Probably.
Yeah. And you also mentioned women there, and obviously the last few years, over the last decade, there's been a real movement for women in technology. And can you see this continue to grow as well? More women will move into technology.
Absolutely. I think as different career options become available, because 20 years ago, when you thought about IT, there were not that many job roles. And I remember I worked at a company where we were helping to train people and bring them into the industry. And one of our goals was to have 20% of the project being women. And
Yeah.
I had the job to phone companies and try and place these students when they graduated. And I would get these stupid excuses from employers saying, oh, it's a man's environment. The guys swear. I can't put a woman in there. Oh, it's heavy equipment. How can I put a woman in that position? And one of the ladies that we did place is in a senior position at one of my customers today. So there's no barriers today. I mean, we don't want to pigeonhole women anymore to give them HR jobs or what's the others, training and those sort of things. There's no such thing anymore. There are so many opportunities, and we see women blossoming in the IT industry. We see more women rising up into more senior positions and management positions. And by the way, that's another workforce development project that I see right across the world, bringing more women into tech. I think there was even a group in Christchurch when I was there that we met with that was doing a project, and I'm going to work with your team there on this project next year. So I'm very excited because it's definitely something that I feel very strongly about. There's no barriers whatsoever as far as I'm concerned.
Which is fantastic to hear. And I think during my time, which is coming up to 10 years at the Learning People, those who did used to inquire with us, we probably had about a 75% split in favor of male for those that would inquire. And that's now about 60-40. So you can see the movement, and which is fantastic. Absolutely. So we mentioned earlier that Learning People have won CompTIA's Outstanding Leader Award for the second year running. Can you tell us about why we've won that award?
Thank you for the flowers you sent me. That's why you won.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Did you get the chocolates as well?
I did not. I'm going to take your award away.
They're lost in the post.
This is a global award that we award every year. We have a CompTIA Global Partner event that takes place in the US once a year, around about July, August. And when we look at the winners for this award, we look at a bunch of things. We not only look at the number of students that the partner has successfully put through career paths, but we also look at the partners, what they offer, additional services that they offer. And I know one of the things that impressed me the most when I met the very large team in Christchurch was that from the beginning, when you start talking to someone about a career, right through to the end, there's somebody holding your hand the whole time. And that's so rare when you look at training partners today. People aren't a number when they come to the Learning People. They feel like they're part of a family, and there's somebody there helping them, holding their hand and guiding them through the process. That must be so wonderful to train at such a place. And we wanted to recognize the work that you do in the industry, the careers that you offer people, the lives that you're changing through the fantastic work that you do with your training programs, and the support that you give people, the what did you call it? Student care, I think it's called. Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I was so impressed with your team.
Well, that's great to hear, and it's great to be recognised by such, a global leader that is CompTIA for 2 years in a row. And as you say, part of what we say that we are the best at is our customer service and our student care, and actually helping people get into roles. And to boast a stat that 97% of the students who enroll with us secure new careers is something to be super proud of. And so we're thanks for this wonderful partnership that we have as well, Loraine. So moving on from there, one of the questions that we do get asked a lot, and I wanted to keep this really impartial between CompTIA and Learning People, is what are the differences between Learning People or online education providers against a traditional university? What would you say are the benefits of doing either?
So, as you know, CompTIA also works with universities and educational institutions. Even though we've moved so much forward with education in the world, degrees are still very much traditional. And the professors that teach are very traditional as well. So there's a lot of resistance. What most of them do is they add maybe the certifications as a additional course that people can do. But the main thing for me is when I talk to employers, and this is what it's all about. Why are we doing all this? We are doing it to get a job at the end of the day. So that's what you have to consider when you look at education. And I'm not saying that a degree is not a good thing to do. I'm just saying that it's not going to prepare you for that career on its own. It gives you a certain foundation, but if you're looking for a job, you need something that's a bit more recognizable by the industry, by employers, such as the CompTIA's certifications and other vendors, and you need something that's a bit more hands-on. As I mentioned before, our certifications and others out there are very much applied to the job role. When we develop our certifications, it's not based on a product. It's not based on something CompTIA decided to do. We get people that work in the industry in those job roles to develop what we call a job task analysis. It takes about 18 months to develop this. And when you look at the weight of questions in the CompTIA exams, that relates back to how often that task is performed in the workplace. So it's all about on the job. What tasks are you doing when you perform this specific job role? And I think that's very important. And employers across the world recognize our certifications. And if you look at adverts for positions, CompTIA certifications are often mentioned. Now, unless it's an entry level, you may not see A+ that much, but it is often presumed or assumed by an employer that somebody has that foundation. And it's certainly something that I impress upon employers, that the foundation is also important. It's very important to start there. I also say to people, when you're looking at a career, do not over certify yourself. So there's people that do 5, 6, 7, they do CompTIA certifications, which is their foundation, and then they go and do a whole bunch of other vendor certifications, and then they can't find a job. And they wonder why, because you've overqualified yourself. What you've trained for. It was often the case with the MCSE, which is no longer. Who is going to give you a job as a network administrator with no experience, despite the fact that you have an MCSE? So you have to keep that in mind when you train as well. You need to have a very good foundation, skills that are employable, but not too many, because the idea is that you first go and apply it in the workplace, and then you progress with more certifications, working for your company and working on specific products.
So there's a few interesting points there, but particularly around the experience. So, yes. And I think that's what most people's reservations are before enrolling is, well, how am I going to get given a job if I have no experience? But are you advising that just by doing the certifications, it's going to look better on your CV, employers will look favorably that you've gone down that route, and then you're more likely to get an entry-level role because you haven't got experience?
It does definitely help. And I think because the certification is very much respected in the industry, and employers is aware of what you can do. I am aware, however, that it is a difficulty for people in certain parts of the world when times are tough and there's a lot of competition, with other people that might have experience. A couple of things that people can do. You can volunteer to go and work for a company for a certain time period and show them what you can do. The one thing that people often don't think about is your resume. It's so important. I remember years ago, when looking for a job, I would look at the job advert and see what they're looking for, and I would change my resume. Not always very honest, but you know what? You would just highlight certain points much more. The other thing is, if you are anywhere, volunteer to learn a new skill. It is so important. It's a new thing that you can put on your resume that might get you the new job. This has happened to me before. I remember, this is very ancient. I knew how to, I think I did a telegraph once. There was a machine that you did a telegraph with. I volunteered and I did it once, and a fax machine was something brand new. And I put it on my resume, and I remember I got a job interview specifically around that. So there are things that you can do, but I think the other thing is networking. I think it's important to join groups, make yourself more visible on platforms such as LinkedIn, work on your profile, connect with people, join industry groups or interest groups. Those are places. It's only by talking to people that you sometimes get a foot in the door. Go to events and talk to people at these stands. You know, you never know what might happen. I know my CEO have employed 1 or 2 people at an event. So what a wonderful opportunity. There's definitely ways. People just have to think out the box, because you do compete against a lot of people today when you apply for a job.
That's super interesting and great advice. And it's funny about using a Telegram and fax. Well, I guess LinkedIn is the modern day platform, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
But it is amazing how many opportunities we found when students do immerse themselves within the industry, particularly on LinkedIn, and start that networking, how you can open doors. You know, you can't just let it happen yourself. You do have to kind of push those doors down. But obviously certifications help no end. So Loraine, there's a couple of questions just on the chat so far as well. There's several questions, so no particular order. Richard says, is it possible to watch the recording of this meeting later? I have a meeting at 12:30. Of course, Richard, I just should have said at the start, we are recording this. We'll send this out to everybody as well. So if you do miss anything, but thanks for joining us for the time that you have. Doris says, please, what courses previously can I do if I don't have any experience? So we did touch on this briefly. So so from a learning people perspective, get in touch with us, have a career consultation, talk about where you are, what things that you might want to move into in terms of technology, what experience you have, and we can advise you on the right pathway. But Loraine will certainly say that there's some certs that she could advise.
I certainly would start by going and seeing a professional at learning people. They will go through your current experience. Sometimes if you do just and there are some assessments. I actually forgot to look at it. We used to have a website where you could do a self-assessment, and those are really good. I know that there's some free assessments online. If I find something, we may have something, but if I find something, I'll send you the link and you can share it afterwards. But I would suggest that you do a self-assessment or go in and see a professional to look at your current skills. Very often people are unaware that they have certain skills. I mean, in first world countries, a lot of people are exposed to computers and networks long before they leave school. So you already have some skills. And, you know, another one that you can do is maybe do aptitude testing. Although I'm not a great fan, I think you have to go where your passion is. Another one I would suggest is go spend some time with somebody that's in that career or chat to somebody. There's a lot of online groups on LinkedIn specifically I've seen. CompTIA has an instructor network as well. You can chat to people that are in the industry and find out what their job is really like. And, you know, you can find out more about the careers before you get into it. But there's certainly, you know, a lot of ways to do that. It doesn't have to be, start with that, and then on advice, start with certification. We have an ITF Plus. I'm not sure if it's really applicable here. We use it mostly at a school and a high school level. So I would much rather just look at A Plus at this point as a starting point.
And then Desmond says, I'm interested in studying Python, but I'm ignorant about it. What are the course paths studying Python and becoming a full stack developer, as well as a career prospect in full stack development? Now, full stack development isn't something CompTIA offer, is it? No. So we say again, sorry, Loraine.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it is a huge area of technology which is absolutely booming. And Desmond, again, I would say, so we do provide a full stack developer package and lots of other coding packages as well, so from Python to front end development. Speak to our career advisors, our career consultants, and they can discuss the right pathways for you on that. There's a question from Christian that's come in, Loraine. Just asking particularly, what are the best areas to specialize in today in IT? So I guess it's a much broader question. What kind of areas would you recommend?
There's 3 at this stage. And even when I looked online to see what's the next thing in IT for the next couple of years, I mean, things like AI comes in, but there's not really that much available in terms of training for that. So I think jobs will evolve as time goes on. Right now, cybersecurity is number 1. But please do not skip over the foundation. It is so important to have that foundation of A+ and Network+ and Security+. So whatever other vendor certifications you do, and this is why I always say to people, do the basics, go find a job. The company will help you to do vendor-specific certifications, and because they're very costly. So that will depend on your job and what equipment you're going to work on and what software you're going to work on. I lost my train of thought.
So cybersecurity was obviously the biggest.
Cybersecurity is number 1. We can all see the news headlines. There's a lot of hacking happening. So we see a lot of interest from governments, defense, large corporates. So definitely the number 1. If I look at our certifications, our cybersecurity certifications, they have grown by 284% over the last 3 years, which shows you that people out there recognize the opportunity and they are definitely going in that direction. That's where the jobs are. Look at the jobs that are being advertised. Number 2 would be cloud. Definitely a big thing. Lots of companies interested in that. Lots of jobs being advertised. And the third one that's pretty new to CompTIA is data. I'm not very familiar with the whole market there. We're still finding our feet, but certainly something that's really, really interesting. Development in terms of gaming, it seems to be on the radar. It was very popular a year or so ago. I'm not sure how big it is right now, but I see cybersecurity definitely dominating.
A stat that we discuss quite regularly, Loraine, is that for every 1 certified professional in cybersecurity, there's 3 jobs available. So there is a 0% unemployment rate. And was it 234% in 3 years?
Yeah.
That's mega. And they're huge, yeah. And I mean, obviously, I say I'm over here in Australia, and I've been here for 4 months. Heading back to the UK and probably in the next couple, and pretty much every single day on the news since I've been here, there's been a major corporation that has been hacked. So there's not a day that goes by. There's a separate tab on the news sites for cybersecurity. You know, it's that big.
It's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. But it's it shows the demand. And I was looking at some stats earlier, just really in technology, just to look ahead for 2023. And you've mentioned all the biggies, but these were some of the biggest around UK and Australia roles for 2023. So data analysts, business analysts, cloud and architecture, which you said, data engineers, technical support, IT security, and database administrators. So data is a huge. Yeah, there's a big movement there. So there's some cool areas to get into, and the salaries are particularly lucrative once you've been in the industry for a short period of time as well.
Absolutely. Can I just mention something, Jono? I'll send you the link afterwards. It's not going to show so nicely. This is just a printed copy of it. It's called the CompTIA Career Path, and it's available on our website. I think we'll share the link afterwards. We call it the IT Certification Roadmap, and this shows you the different careers and where we would suggest you start and what certifications you can take across the board. It includes tertiary education at universities and colleges. So it recognizes that, and it recognizes all certifications out there from different vendors, because CompTIA certifications really complement other vendor certifications. As an industry association, we support all certifications. Obviously, we promote our own because it's job role related and not product related, but it supports those certifications. So if you are interested, please have a look at the career roadmap. It will show you what sort of, it's very limited. It doesn't have everything, but you can click on it. So it's very interactive. You can go to the website and you can read more about certain certifications. And obviously, most of them are offered by the learning people, if not all. I don't know.
So yes, we will share the link in the email that we'll send out with the recording of this session as well. So that would be great. It probably answers this question, but there's been loads of questions sent in from everyone that's registered. And Jan says, what's the best course to complete for a beginner in cybersecurity, and how long would you expect it to take to get into the industry?
So there's a lot of companies that are offering boot camps, like they call it, and they create a variety of certifications, and normally it's a 6 months program, and when you come out of there, you are a junior in cybersecurity. Look, it doesn't give you the practical exposure that you should get, but some of them do have that. So I would suggest looking at a combination. You can't jump, and I would definitely not suggest you jump to Security Plus or anything vendor related. Start with your foundation and work yourself up. A Plus has security and networking in it. Network Plus has security and networking in it. Work your way up and do the foundation. You will not be sorry if you do it the proper way. So I would definitely still suggest you do A Plus, Network Plus. If you want to assess yourself and you feel that you have the skills, go take the A Plus exam. Then don't do the course, or do a short course, a crash course, or a boot camp. I'm not sure. Do you offer boot camps at the Learning People? I think I've heard something.
Yes, so we wouldn't call them, say, boot camps. We'll say that we offer usually a period of 12 months to complete the certifications and exams,
the right way.
which are aligned to a career. But we also do offer practice labs, so you get hands-on real-world experience, so you can obviously hack systems without costing anyone thousands and thousands of pounds.
Everybody loves that part of cybersecurity.
Exactly. So that's where you get your real world experience, which you can show, and obviously on your portfolio as well. So there's obviously many routes into this, but seeking, say, professional advice would be my best advice for you. So a lot of the questions we've covered in terms of transferable skills, the most.
I did like to make a note about the transferable skills. I didn't specifically talk about that. I was looking online to see what people were saying, but if I look at IT specifically, things like problem solving, they're all applicable. Problem solving and analytical thinking are things that actually pitch up in A+. I don't know if people are aware of it, but there is a section that covers soft skills. And more when I talk to corporates and employers, soft skills are very important. Things like communication. I know today, especially our younger generation, when they talk on WhatsApp, it's like dictation in the old days. I don't know quite what they're saying. I remember my kids started using social media. What was it called? It was another platform. And we read some of the messages without his permission, of course. And there was a word called MWA. And my husband and I were like, what is that? And it ended up to be moi. But we didn't know what's MWA. It's moi. It's a kiss that you're blowing to someone. So yeah, there's one of the gripes that employers have is that the younger generation, because of social media and not completing sentences and words, the communication skills is not so good, especially when they mail or write to customers. So it's definitely important to look at things like, your communication skills, writing, listening, teamwork, communication is what I said, critical thinking. Project management is another one. Can you manage your time? Project management is something that I personally would recommend to anybody that's in an IT position. Whatever you're doing, you're working against time, and you need to know how to manage your time and how to finish projects on time. So it's a very important skill. There's a lot of soft skills contained in project management certifications as well. So definitely something I would highly recommend. Adaptability was another one. Really, really important today, especially in the IT industry. Things change so often and so quickly. You need to be able to adapt, and it's a lifelong learning journey that you're going into. And what a wonderful thing to start your journey with the Learning People and to continue it. Come back and do more courses as you progress in your career. Get your employer to support the organization that gave you a start in the industry.
Well, absolutely, and that's what we say to our students, and many of our students do come back, you know, after they've been in a role for 1 or 2 years to upskill, and that's what we love to see. And talking about project management, that's another area that we obviously specialize in at Learning People as well. And the demand for IT and project management has also boomed. So I think this is some fantastic points that you've given there, Loraine. I think in terms of questions, we probably covered what everybody has asked. Is there anything else that you want to touch on?
I don't think so. I think I looked at all the questions that came in. Let me just look at there's a Q&A here. Oh, here's somebody that says he's in the UK, he's 46-year-old field engineer, looking for a job indoors. I don't know quite about the market, but what I would suggest to anyone is to go and see a career advisor at the Learning People. Look at what current skills you have, what you're interested in doing. I mean, certainly there's lots of indoor jobs in IT. We can assure you of that.
So it's a good job you've seen that, because I've had the live chat up and not the live Q&A, and there's loads more on the Q&A. So so we've had the Python question.
Applicants from ethnic minorities, absolutely. I think every single project today make sure that we address all minorities across the board. So I can assure you there's not a project happening that doesn't have that, keep that in mind. CompTIA also does some projects with the government in the UK, as far as I know. So look at the CompTIA website, see, and then obviously the Learning People will also have projects that they work on. So there's definitely plenty of opportunities for sure. You just need to join forums and start talking to people and networking with people. It's the most important thing today in terms of career, getting a career and advancing your career. I can't stress enough as an individual how important LinkedIn is.
Absolutely, and that's what our career services experts would say as well. It's part of the 3 phases of the career services that we have to start by immersing yourself in LinkedIn and connecting with industry professionals. It will help no end. This is a technical question from EB Loraine, which might be one for our career consultant, saying that they're a career changer. They've completed the A+ Network+ Security+ CYSA+, so they're well down the pathway, well down the road. Currently studying Pentest Plus. Now the care obligations are finished. What are the best routes to get into purple team roles? So it's quite specific around a cybersecurity position.
I thought it was red team, blue team. What is purple team? I'm lost now.
Red team and blue team is what I've heard. So maybe this is another one for our career services team to advise.
So I'm not sure. That's probably the next level, because CISA Plus and Pentest Plus are your red and blue teams. So must be a next level. I'm sorry, I don't know. We don't offer anything in that area. I'm assuming this person is in a current IT security role, has quite a lot of our certifications already.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe one of your advisors can help them.
That's perfect. That's where we're
higher
here to
up.
And then I think
there's more questions.
Unless you can see some, just please go ahead and answer. Here we go.
Oh, here's somebody in Christchurch. You need to go and see somebody at the Learning People in Christchurch. I'm sure that they will be able to help you to get into project management. You certainly have a very impressive career, and you should actually be very good at project management already. You just need to go and get a bit of a credential to get the job, or even consulting. You could even do consulting.
This huge opportunity there, isn't it? But yeah, absolutely, do get in touch with the career services team. One from an anonymous attendee. I've enrolled myself within a business analyst course at Learning People, which is fantastic. And I myself is a developer from the past 11 years. So a change like business analyst will it do any good to my career? From my perspective, 100%, it's one of the most in-demand roles at the moment, business analyst, and there's so many different opportunities from it. You can enter at senior levels when you with a business analyst experience. You can go down many different pathways, and I think it's just all of the stats that I read about opportunities. Business analyst just keeps popping up within the top 10 of kind of most in-demand areas. So absolutely. Have you got anything to add to that, Loraine?
No, I do not. I'm fascinated because EB has just explained to us what purple teams mean. And I must be quite honest, this is a new one for me. And this is very high level. So this would be a bridge between red and blue. Wow, very interesting. I think that we need to get one of our experts to make contact with you about that one, because I'm afraid I can't answer your question. But wow, thank you for answering it.
Yeah, that is super interesting. And so Loraine is much more of a technical expert than I am, but we do all of our technical experts are within the learning people and can help you with all of these questions. So thank you for sending them in. It's great to have you on board and great to be discussing this with you. Okay, well, I think because we're going to keep this to around half an hour, 40 minutes, and it's coming up to 10 to the hour, we'll leave it there, and we'll send across the email to everyone that's registered, along with the link to the CompTIA pathways that you've shown us, Loraine. And then if anyone is interested in speaking to a career consultant, then please just reply to those emails, give us a call, or submit your details on the website, and that would be fantastic. So
great.
So I think all that's left to say is have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was very nice to answer all the questions. I hope that I gave some practical advice and guidance to at least a few people. There's definitely, it's the career to be in. I can't stress that enough. So if you have the opportunity, go for it. You will not be sorry. And certainly going with the learning people as your choice to start your career, to change your career, you will not be sorry about that either. We certainly support what they do. Fantastic company. I can't say good enough things about you.
Well, thanks so much, Loraine. We're looking forward to continuing our special partnership into the new year and long after that. And for everybody, watching, thanks for watching, and we're looking forward to supporting you into new careers or upskilling in the new year as well. We would say that, if you're thinking about it, now is the perfect time to do it and bite the bullet and just go for it. So have a fantastic Christmas, everyone, and we'll speak to you in the very near future.
Thank you, Jonah. Bye.
See you, Loraine. Bye-bye.